Ladies and gentlemen, Mollusk here. And this is going to be an introduction to an ending, and also the dawn of a beginning, which makes a bit more sense. The old world, the world of my childhood, the world that was 8th edition Warhammer Fantasy Battles, is dead. Some bastard pulled the plug, and it looks like all the goats got sucked into a hole in the sky. And yet, instead of oblivion, because that probably exists under someone else's copyright, the goatees of Beastlord Mollusk's Bray Herd find themselves still in existence. Impressive for inanimate lumps of plastic whose fantasy world of make-believe just got shit-binned. I'm sure you'll agree. After discussing Descartes and Berkeley for a bit among themselves, they've started to peek out into this new age, this new 9th age that they find themselves in. They're lost and confused. The rules are all familiar, yet subtly different. They know nothing about this world. Is it some kind of strange continuation from the last? What do they rape? Who do they pillage? Is there a fresh new history and geography to be learned? Or is it a case of box, table, and no questions asked? They don't look at the forums, you see, on account of not being able to read. Basically, they're getting unruly and angry. And watching the battle reports of Once Bitten and Doom and Darkness from over my shoulder, you know they do it. Their excitement can't be contained any longer. Especially some of the herd's lower level heroes, who have been gathering together like-minded followers, and they're spoiling for a scrap. So in order to help them vent their angst, help me learn the rules of 9th Age, and try out the game at a smaller introductory point size, that I wonder if it might interest newcomers to the hobby who don't have ready-modelled 8th edition size armies to play. I'm going to have a Goatlander Tournament. Basically a series of 250 point games against myself, as I learn the rules and test out some builds. Yep, I'm playing with myself, I'm just that cool, but double the learning. So let the legend that is the Goatlander Tournament begin, and let me introduce you to our contestants. First out onto the pasture is William the Gruff. He's a beast chieftain with heavy armour and an additional hand weapon. His herd consists of 13 wild horns with additional hand weapons and full command, and 6 feral hounds. Next we've got Lurkhorn, a soothsayer level 1 of shadow, with the potion of swiftness and a soothsayer staff. And he's backed up by 15 wild horns with a champion standard bearer and additional hand weapons. He's also got 5 mongrel raiders around to do his dirty work. Paddy McGinty's herd is a little bit unconventional, as this is a herd of ballistic beastmen. Paddy McGinty is a beast chieftain with heavy armour, a great weapon, and throwing weapons. And he's managed to gather together 5 mongrel raiders, 5 mongrel raiders, and 10 wild horns with a standard bearer and throwing weapons. Turns out, under all that dust, I had some centaur. There are 5 of them with a champion and standard bearer, and they're being led by Polkan, the centaur chieftain, who's been equipped with the skull splitter bow. And this is actually an illegal list, because I've spent too much on heroes, but screw it, this is just a learning exercise, and I want to have some fun. That brings us on to the Great Hargeisa, who is a beast chieftain with heavy armour, a beast axe, a shield, and a lucky charm. Maybe I should have given that to Paddy. Ah well. Backing up Hargeisa, we have 5 feral hounds and 13 wild horns with a standard bearer and champion, and they have additional hand weapons. Let's talk about Baphomet. He's a soothsayer level 2 of wild beasts or wilderness or whatever it is, and he's got a talisman of shielding. He's bringing along 10 wild horns with additional hand weapons and a champion, and he stands out a bit for bringing along a raiding chariot. Mr. Tumnus is a beast chieftain with heavy armour and the screaming swords, and he's leading more of an armoured horde, 11 wild horns with a champion, standard bearer and shields, and 10 mongrels with spears and shields. And last but certainly not least we have Hartache, the legendary Minotaur BSB who has soloed units of demons in his time. He's here as a Minotaur chieftain with no upgrades, and he's bringing along 3 of his Minotaur friends with no upgrades. Because they're so manly or goatly, they just don't need it. This is another illegal list because I've spent too much on my hero again, and the chieftain can't bring Minotaurs in core. But fuck it! So there you have it, 8 contenders, all 250 points. The Minotaurs and Centaurs probably a little bit strong, but it's a game of dice and anything can happen. The tournament will have 3 rounds and I'll put up a video for each. I'm learning this game and I haven't played 8th for a while, so I'll probably make some mistakes. It would be great if the sharp-eyed among you would point them out, and hopefully I can stop making them all the sooner. But yeah, really this is just a bit of fun, and these certainly aren't lists I've been dreaming up and agonising over to try to make them as strong as possible. I just wanted to get a range of flavours and try things out. Anyway, more to come, stay tuned.